Okay, today is April 7, 2014. Let's take a look at the market. The market had another down day today, and that wasn't unexpected. But we also kind of seeing some development here on the price action that we might be getting a maybe 1 or 2 day type of dead cat bounce in the next couple of days, maybe tomorrow or the day following. But one never know. I mean, it's just my guess based on what I see on the price action. It's not something that cast in stone to say that's going to happen. But let's go and review some of the indexes. And first, let's take a look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500, we're talking about this 1848, 1850 support level. You can see that it broke through that today, and actually came down to test this somewhere around this 1840 level here, this particular support. And here's that March 3rd low here. We're still waiting for that to possibly come down and test that. And if it failed that, then most likely it's going to come down and tag this level somewhere around the 1820. But we might be getting a bounce here because you look at it, the S&P 500 been down 3 consecutive days, and also it's hit these 50-day moving average, and also this low support here at the 1843, 1840, that area. So it's kind of prime for a maybe a little bounce. Maybe it might come down and tag this low here for a little bit, and then quickly rebound and possibly get back up above this particular level here, this 1850 level, and maybe do a little bit of a quick dead cat bounce, and then consolidate a couple of days and resume back down here, and possibly tag this particular level, this particular level here. And eventually we might even come down and dip below the 1800 level, and kind of spook some of the longs out before we get a little bit of a sustaining move, because we also look at this particular trend line here. So this level here is kind of in a little bit of a confluence with this trend line. So that's one possibility on the S&P 500. And looking at the Dow Jones 30, the Dow Jones 30 also, we're looking for that possibility of holding up at this pivot, and it appears that seems to be holding up at this pivot as a support, but we're still essentially looking for it to come back down to test this March 3rd low here. And once again, we could get a little bit of a maybe a dead cat bounce up here for a couple of days, and then come back down and tag this level. Then maybe it will get down to break below the 16,000 level, and then kind of get a little bit of a spook on some of the longs, and then get back up. So because we also have this trend line coming up, and it could be conceivably also get down to this area, but I think that might be a little bit more a little bit excessive for now. So probably wouldn't be surprised to see it come down just slightly beneath the 1600, the 16,000 level. And on the Nasdaq 100, we see that this support level here has kind of got broken, because we're basically looking at this particular pivot here, and then we'll say that it might come down and fill this gap here, which it did. You see this gap fill. So right now, maybe come back and retest this this support level as the resistance, and maybe get a little bit bouncy before it come back and tag this level down here somewhere around the 34.50, 34.45. And then finally on the Russell 2000, again, we're looking for this particular support level to kind of hold, but you can see that it broke that, and now it's coming down to maybe possibly test this level, because it's also broke this particular pivot as well. So essentially, we're looking at this level somewhere around the 1120 area for possible support. Once again, we might get a little bit of a bounce here, kind of test this support as resistance for a little bit, and then resume back down. But one never know, because it could do something totally different than what we see here. But just as a preparation, and be prepared with some of the possible scenario, and that's basically what I'm seeing right now, because we're essentially looking for this market to continue to be weak, and until we could consolidate and start forming some sort of a higher high, higher low, And right now, we haven't seen any kind of even a flatness of prices to kind of say that they have found some sort of support level. So essentially, right now, we're kind of still watching these price action to move lower. Of course, there's going to be some of these intermediate, bounds and that kind of stuff because as you can see, the Russell 2000 has also got 3 consecutive down day, and it's pretty dramatic on Friday. So, and right now it is appear to be near some of the support level, but it booked this support. So it wouldn't be surprised to come back and see, try to test this support as resistant. And then let's take a look at the stock. And we're looking at Apple again. Apple. We were talking about one of the possible support level is this 523. So it seems to be holding that 523. But if it's going to come down and tag this, I believe this is somewhere around 515. Basically, this is that gap that is going to get filled. Then it probably will dip down. This is 513. My suspicion is that when it comes down to this 513, I think it's going to kick in that stock repurchase program by Apple, and they're going to support that price somewhere around that 513 level. Because last time it supported somewhere around that 500 level. But if people are looking for it to come down here to be somewhere around this this 490 or 495, I think that they might have a long way. I'm not, that's the way that I see it because I think there's still some money in that repurchase program, and I think Apple will probably will step in and try to support the stock price when it get down near that 500 level. And at this point, this price gap here is probably that's the, any place, good as any because here you got this, support level also over here. So, in this price gap, 513, that could be a possible support level. You know, and if we look at Facebook, so Facebook here, we're talking about filling this gap here in the previous video. So it came down pretty close to filling the gap. I think we're still going to come down and maybe test these particular support. But, right now it's kind of broken this trend line here. And here's this gap level. So it could come back down, come back up and retest this gap level as resistant near the 60. So that's good. That could be something might happen in the next few days. So we just have to keep an eye on that for potential bounce to come up and bounce up at that 60 level. Then on Twitter, again, Twitter, we're looking at this, this price level for it to come down and possibly test this level. So right now, today, it came down. And once again, we still kind of keep an eye on this post IPO low somewhere around this 39 level, which is the 1618 retracement. So and then on the Tesla, we're looking at coming down to fill this gap here. So essentially, this level here, and if it fail to hold this level right now, it's kind of been holding this. This Fibonacci retracement is 618 at somewhere around this 208, 207 and change. So it seems to be, try to hug this as long as it can. And, we might get a little bit bounce, the next day or two and retest this, 50-day moving average. But I think it's going to come down and, dip down here and fill this particular gap or at least get down to this pivot, which is, I mentioned about this 193. And so essentially it's somewhere around this particular level here. It's also near this pivot. So that was one possible support level for it to come down and test. And then Google, we're talking about Google coming down to this support level, and then because of this big price drop last Friday, that we might just go do a flush and then come back up and set up of a little bit of possibility of a hammer. Well, it got pretty close to a hammer. And right now it seems to be, trying to hold this particular support level here somewhere around this 541, 542. So we might be seeing maybe a little bit of a bounce, in the next couple of days and possibly get back up to this 560. Then it come back down. Who knows? Right? So then that's one possibility. So you might want to keep an eye on this price action here because it seems to show a little bit of resilience here when it comes down here and then kind of banks right back. So that's one good sign about the price action at Google today. Okay. Although it's only ended up down 4.5, so that's not too bad. I know at one time it was way much more than that. So, and then just to follow up on B of A, once again, on B of A, we're talking about this particular level as a support because this right here, the head and shoulder, and once it break that, we're essentially, looking for a major move down here to this 1550. But we also, talk about some intermediate support over here, that it might find some support and get a little bit bounce before it actually move to try to get that complete major move down to that 1550. So you can see that it came down to that support level here and kind of bounced back, although we did not get a much of a hammer. But we might see it to come back up and try to test this, these support line as resistant and before it resume back and come down and possibly come on and tag this major move on this head and shoulder pattern. So that's one possibility. So that's basically a quick review of some of the stock that we talked about on the weekend and also the market index. So certainly we might be seeing maybe a little bit of a bounce in the next day or two, but I don't believe this bounce is going to be anything much more than a 1 or 2 day type of dead cat bounce. So unless you plan to do some quick trade, if you're thinking about doing some swing trade, I would basically probably wait a little bit longer because I don't think this particular bounce will turn into much of a swing trade opportunity. But definitely, I think the market is still a little bit uncertain, and it's best to be a little bit more defensive. Like I said, opportunities are abundant. The stock market is not going to go away. But if we make a wrong move, it might wipe our account and our capital will go away. So no matter how good the opportunity to come along, if we don't have the capital to capitalize on it, it's totally meaningless. So that's why we have to be careful, and capital preservation is number one. So have a good evening, and wish you best of luck for the rest of the week.